is up, DW Nation? It's your boy Asante Grundy coming to you guys with another Raw recap. We have a women's championship match that occurred. We also have a gauntlet match, and as well as great story movement that happened in last night's episode. It was a really good episode last night, and I'm here to break it down for you. So let's get to it. So starting off, we have the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. Yes, Drew McIntyre is back. And for those who don't know, Drew has been out with COVID these past few weeks, but last night he made his return and he's ready to go. He addresses the WWE Universe saying thank you for the love and support throughout these past few weeks. And like I said, Drew is ready to go. He addresses Goldberg and says, I'm going to beat you this weekend at the Royal Rumble. But then Goldberg has his epic music drops. He says, this Sunday. So they're face to face. And then Miz and Morrison come out and Miz says, hey, y'all's match is going to be epic, but whoever comes out champion, I'm going to cash in and I will be the new champion. And let's see if Miz's prediction is correct. But after he gives out his little speech, pretty much what happens is Drew and Goldberg both hit their finishers on Miz and Morrison, and then Goldberg and Drew stand face to face again. So I'm ready for Sunday. Ain't much more to say about that. So next up, we have an interview with Charlie Caruso and Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair pretty much said, like, I'll be entering the Royal Rumble this weekend. I'll be defending my tag team belt with my partner, Askua. And I perform best under pressure. So we'll see if she lives up to that statement this weekend at Royal Rumble. So next up, we have our first match of the night. We have Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler. And this was really good until Nia Jax got involved. But it was pretty good. They both used their attempt to use their finishers early. Both kicked out. But Nia Jax intervenes and starts to attack Charlotte. So then after that, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke actually come out to save Charlotte, and they both attack Shayna and Nia Jax. But then Lacey Evans comes out to attack Charlotte, and now we just get all of them rumbling in the middle of the ring, which sets up a 6-women's tag team match next up. So I will be talking about that next. So next up, we have our women's tag team match between Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, and Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, and Shayna Baszler. And this match is a little lengthy, but I'm going to just break it down to you guys. So how it starts off is Mandy Rose versus Lacey, and Mandy starts to make her presence felt early as she gets some hits in as well as some kicks. And right before she goes to tag in Dana, her and Dana execute a slam on Lacey Evans, but Lacey Evans tends to break out of that. So then Lacey tags in Shayna and Charlotte gets tagged in. So now we have Charlotte versus Shayna. And this was good between two evenly matched opponents, two of the top women on WWE. And so how it happens is Charlotte knocks Shayna out the ring, and they talk in a little bit and they fight a little bit outside of the ring. But then Charlotte goes back in the ring, and Shayna happens to miss the count. So Charlotte, Dana Brooke, and Mandy Rose get the win due to Shayna missing the count out. So after commercial break, it shows us what happened during the commercial, and Nia, Shayna, and Lacey want to run it back because they weren't obviously too happy about the result that just happened. But Adam Pearce comes out and he was like, "Oh, y'all want to run it back? Okay." So he gets the confirmation from Dana, Mandy, and Charlotte, and yes, that's what we get. We get a rematch. So I'll tell you what happens in part 2 next. So part 2 of this match starts off with Nia Jax and Dana Brooke. And to keep it short for you guys, Dana Brooke just gets to work by Shayna, Nia, and Lacey. So pretty much Dana was able to get a little momentum on Lacey Evans, but she tags in Mandy Rose, and Mandy starts to get some kicks in, and she starts to get some hits in as well. Then she delivers her knee into Lacey, only to be broken up by Shayna Baszler. So then Nia Jax happens to tag herself in, and she gets the job done as she uses her finisher on Dana, because Dana's in at the time now, and Nia gets the win for her team, and it was a pretty solid match. I enjoyed it. It was a great performance by everyone, even though Mandy Rose and Shayna stood out the most. You could see before the break it went one way, but now after the break it went the other way. But we'll see how this all unfolds within the next week. I mean, I know they're not going to be partners next week, but I'm just curious to see what happens next after this match. So our next match of the night, we have Slapjack of Retribution versus Xavier Woods. And this match pretty much goes back and forth as Xavier gets the momentum early, starts getting some hits on Slapjack, but Slapjack was able to rebound and he starts getting the advantage on Xavier. But it wasn't enough for Slapjack as Xavier Woods hits the Shiny Wizard on Slapjack and gets the W. But then Xavier gets ambushed by Retribution at ringside, and my thoughts on this is that this is good for Retribution, but in a way it's bad. It's good because they need to establish themselves as a dominant core. Even though Xavier won, Retribution still needs to establish themselves as a dominant core, and by attacking Xavier after the match, I mean, they certainly made their presence felt. Because we've seen Retribution take some L's over the weeks. Even though last week they got a win with Mace, but Retribution, they just need to find their identity and hit a nice little stride. So after the match, we see Xavier getting interrogated by Mustafa Ali, the leader of Retribution. And as Xavier was about to get hit with a chair by Mustafa wanted to show him some mercy as quoted by Mustafa. And pretty much Mustafa was like, "I need you to deliver a message to your tag team partner Kofi Kingston saying he's been replaced by me," talking about himself, obviously, Mustafa Ali talking about himself, saying he's been replaced by me for the Royal Rumble match happening this weekend. And for those who don't know about Kofi has been injured since TLC, and he suffered, I believe he lost some of his teeth, but he's just unable to perform right now. So who knows when we'll see him back. But yeah, Mustafa just wanted to interrogate Xavier and just enter in the Royal Rumble. So bravo by Mustafa and solid by Retribution altogether. Next up, we have the MVP Lounge with the Hurt Business and R-Truth. But before all this occurs, R-Truth has a little segment with Matt Riddle, and R-Truth was saying, "Hey Matt, the Hurt Business has a surprise party planned for me, so I'm gonna see what this is all about." Because it was R-Truth's birthday last week, so that's why he said that. So when we get back to the MVP lounge, Cedric presents MVP a necklace that reads THB, the acronym for the Hurt Business. So after that, R-Truth's music hits and he says, "Hey guys, I'm here for my surprise party and stuff." And then MVP was like, "This ain't for you. You ain't on the script," and all that stuff. But R-Truth, he starts to read MVP's new necklace and says, "THB, Truth, happy birthday," because R-Truth's birthday. And then the Hurt Business, they start to smirk and like laugh a little bit, but they being serious at the same time. So then R-Truth gets attacked by Akira Tozawa and Humberto Carrillo because they're trying to go for R-Truth's 24/7 championship. But also MVP, he gets attacked by Matt Riddle, setting up for their match later on, because later on we're getting Matt Riddle versus the Hurt Business in the Gauntlet Match. So yeah, this was a little cool segment. I like how things planned out on this one, and just great mind thinking with R-Truth. So our next match of the night, we have Sheamus versus John Morrison, and this was a really good match. It was a little back and forth, but Sheamus came out on top after delivering a white noise to Morrison. The Miz didn't like that result, so he calls out Sheamus and was like, "Hey Sheamus, me and Morrison versus you, and let's see what you about now." So that's our next match, which I will delve into next. So next we have Miz and Morrison versus Sheamus, and Sheamus pretty much gets dominated throughout this whole match, but towards the end of the match, Sheamus was able to get some momentum on both Miz and Morrison, as Sheamus delivers the brogue kick on Morrison, but the Miz actually gets Sheamus in the skull crusher, and the Miz gets the win for Miz and Morrison. But overall, solid effort by Sheamus, as he almost came up and beat two really good wrestlers, but it just wasn't enough. But good effort by Sheamus. So next up, we have a small little segment between Rick and Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte addresses Rick saying like, "Hey, I'm actually not the bad guy, and you're actually going from legend to old man." But then Charlotte gets attacked by Lacey, and then we just see Lacey go off with Ric Flair. But Charlotte's not wrong on this one, because ever since COVID hit, Ric Flair has made some unnecessary appearances. Like, he really don't need to be there. But Charlotte ain't wrong on what she just said to Ric Flair. So our next match of the night, we have AJ Styles versus R-Truth. And R-Truth, he pretty much gets the work on this one by AJ. But R-Truth, he had a nice little burst of energy on AJ as he channels his inner John Cena, because he imitates John Cena throughout this match. He hits the five knuckle shuffle on AJ, and he goes for the AA, but AJ Styles, being the smart wrestler he is, he counters the AA and does the calf crusher to R-Truth, causing R-Truth to lose. So pretty good effort by R-Truth, but AJ had this match in the bag from the start. So good job, AJ. So next up, we have Alexa Bliss's Playground, and she's just going over what she's did the past few weeks by burning Randy Orton's face and by beating Asuka last week. And she just says like, "Hey, I'm entering in the Royal Rumble this weekend, and I'll also have a new toy to play with later, because she faces off against Asuka in the women's championship match she has later on, and her new toy, she's talking about the belt. So we'll see if she comes out on top, but I love Alexa Bliss on this one. She was really good. So next up, we have the Gauntlet match between Matt Riddle and the Hurt Business, and this is without Bobby Lashley. But Matt Riddle faces off against Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and MVP. So how it starts off is Shelton Benjamin versus Matt Riddle, and Matt, he has a little burst at the beginning, but Shelton, he starts kicking Matt Riddle, and Matt, he starts to get injured in his ribs, which is smart wrestling by Shelton Benjamin, a longtime veteran. But it wasn't enough for Shelton, believe it or not, as Matt Riddle gets the win off a distraction by Cedric Alexander. So Matt Riddle beats Shelton Benjamin, but then MVP comes in next, and then MVP is bickering to Cedric about what he did, so Matt was able to hit MVP in a roll-up, and Matt Riddle just now beat MVP, so now all that's standing in his way is Cedric Alexander. So yeah, he took out Shelton and MVP real quick. So next up is Cedric. So now we have Cedric Alexander versus Matt Riddle, and Cedric just dominates Matt Riddle throughout this match, but it wasn't enough for Cedric to get the win. And how it happened is that Matt Riddle hits the triangle choke on Cedric, but Cedric converts that into a power bomb, but then Matt Riddle was able to convert that into a roll-up, and that's how Matt Riddle got the win. And keep in mind, Matt Riddle is banged up from his previous match with Shelton Benjamin, but it was a great effort by Matt Riddle, and he was able to get the win. So now he'll face Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship, and this is a great opportunity for Matt Riddle because he's been taking L's lately like crazy, and now this is good for his character and a good opportunity for his career to actually to get a prestigious championship, and we'll see if he makes the most of this opportunity. So I can't wait to see what happens. So next up, we have a promo by the Rated R superstar Edge. My favorite wrestler is back, ladies and gentlemen, and he's hungry. And he was pretty much talking about how his mom motivated him throughout his career. She's the reason he became a pro wrestler, and pretty much he's been working 9 years to get back in the ring. And he's talking about when he retired, he was the WWE champion, but he had to forfeit the title and his career. But now he's back, and he's talking about winning the WWE championship back again, something that, it means most to him. And now he's pretty much saying, like, I will enter the Royal Rumble and I will take back what's mine. And Edge is hungry. You could just see it on him. My boy is back, y'all. I am so happy, you guys. So next, we have our final match of the night. We have the Women's Raw Championship between Asuka and Alexa Bliss. And before a commercial hit, we saw Asuka just start dominating Alexa and getting the best of Alexa. But then after commercial break, we see Alexa start giving the work to Asuka. Then Alexa actually transforms back into her original character, the goddess Alexa Bliss. And then also the lights go out and she actually goes back to her dark form of Alexa Bliss. And then Alexa, she starts beating Asuka again, and she gets the mandible claw on Asuka, but then we see Randy Orton appear and he gives a RKO to Alexa Bliss, and then the show ends right there. But this is great story movement from what I believe the best story in all of wrestling right now. The Fiend, Randy Orton, and Alexa Bliss. And this is just great story movement and great way for Randy Orton to get revenge on Alexa. So, yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens next. So, overall, it was a pretty solid go home show before Royal Rumble. I'm Asante Grundy from the Disciples of Wrestling, and I just want to thank you guys for watching this recap. And I'm ready for Sunday. It should be a good show, and I'll have my predictions later on in the week, so stay tuned for that. Love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.